All right, welcome back, guys. I am your host, William, always here with iMan from the Block Runner, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most importantly, Polkadot again.
Yep.
All right, so first off, let's look at what's going on with Bitcoin. So this is just to show that it's respecting this wedge that I built here,
Yeah, it's respecting your meme lines, dude.
the meme lines, yeah. And so at this point, like you should see something either go up or go down by January 26th along
Yeah,
that
there's
range.
a clear expected, action date, I guess. Call to action date.
Yeah.
Not necessarily it's going to make it to that point because there's like a huge catalyst event impending in the next couple of days, right?
Oh yeah.
Who knows how crypto is going to respond to
Yeah.
whatever goes
Civil
down.
War too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Civil War 2.0. Who knows
Yeah.
what breaks out in a couple of days? So maybe it's big enough or not big enough to where the crypto investors feel more confident to put more money into this ecosystem or to take money out. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
there
What's your
there is a lot
prediction?
riding on it.
What's your prediction? Up or down?
I think. I mean, if nothing major happens and like there's a nice transition of power, right? And Biden is president, and the Boogaloo boys have to pack it up and go home. Like that's best case scenario, right? I think that's a buy signal. I think
Yeah.
to most people. I think that's a reason to rally from there.
Yeah. I think if nothing happens, you're right. We got Biden talking about printing $1.9 trillion. So
Exactly. As soon as he comes into office, almost.
yeah, pretty much.
And
Yeah.
now we have like additional stimulus to enter the market. So
Yeah.
I definitely would expect that to be like a catalyst for a run up, second leg up. From here.
Yeah, and we got
Yeah,
a
Ethereum.
similar
Yeah,
similar wedge for Ethereum too. But this expected action date is between the 19th and the 20th. So
basically the Boogaloo day.
yeah, pretty much.
Dude, isn't that fucking wild? How that like it couldn't be any more perfect.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, this isn't a science. This is more like art, and this is just I don't know. This is just to give you an idea is like what could happen, and so
Yeah.
yeah,
But the thing is, everyone else also have these lines caked up, right, and drawn
yeah,
up.
and
So
that's the point is that we're everybody is drawing these same exact lines, and they're gonna make their buy or sell decisions based on whether it goes up or it goes down. Because
exactly.
here, ideally, you put in a stop loss around this range, just in case it does go down, or a buy order just in case it goes up.
Mhm.
So, but
But either way, yeah, it's signaling the start of the next move,
yeah,
whichever it is. I'm
and
expecting good things for sure. I'm positive.
and just to give you kind of like a on ramp as to what was happening with Ethereum in 2017, in comparison to Polkadot, right? We got here's the start of January 2017. It's at $10 Ethereum. And then this wick here is that Ethereum DAO hack, which
Hmm.
only lasted a day, and then we just recovered. So that's a 30x return for whoever bought here.
Hmm.
And it went from $10 all the way to its all-time high in 2018 at 13 or $1,400 and change.
Mm.
So that is what 130x.
Yeah, and change.
Yeah. So do we expect this for Polkadot? The answer is no, definitely not.
Yeah, certainly not.
Yeah, because Polkadot's already pretty much a blue chip now. It's in the top five, right? It's
Hmm.
right under Tether.
Hmm. Right above Litecoin, I think, or XRP even.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Polkadot's definitely not like some sleeping giant. I mean, there's still a lot of people sleeping on the damn thing.
yeah, for sure.
The token might be killing it, but there's a whole ecosystem growing and brewing within the Polkadot network that is definitely being slept on. I mean, not entirely. There's definitely a lot of awareness and hype generating, but it's nothing like what we're
What
gonna
Ethereum
see.
was.
Yeah, and its ecosystem. It didn't really take off until about the middle of 2017. That's when people realized, like, holy shit,
Yeah,
there's a lot of investment vehicles here for speculation. There's an ICO mania going on. Like every day, there's 10 or 20 new projects, entering the ether sphere.
yeah.
We haven't gotten there yet for Polkadot, but it's definitely on the horizon.
And Dan Reeser probably put it best in explaining what Polkadot and Kusama is in like a 24 tweet storm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why people are a little bit more awake to Polkadot than what Ethereum was in 2017. So let's kind of run through what he wrote, and the links will be in the description just for you guys to take a look at this as well. But he's going to explain in 24 tweets, the value between Polkadot and Kusama.
Yeah, and just so people know, this Dan Reeser, he is the...
Yeah, let me click on him first.
Yeah, just so we know the source, right?
Yeah.
He is
the
growth
growth...
part of the Web3 Foundation.
Yeah, the Web3 Foundation. He's part of the growth community of Polkadot and Kusama. He's an advisor of Akala and the Karura network.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so let's take a look. All right, so he says, so what is Polkadot? It's a platform on which blockchain networks are built and connected in a unified network. These connected chains, called parachains, form a living organism of networks, all in sync and secure. So, of course, started by Gavin Wood, which he invented the virtual machine for Solidity, and the Solidity programming language for Ethereum, and the CTO, and the co-founder and CTO of Ethereum as well. So, here we go. And blockchains built for Polkadot uses a dev framework called Substrate, the easiest and most advanced blockchain building framework for coders.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as a drag and drop blockchain consensus, or even easier, like music EQ with dials up and down on certain features. That's pretty interesting.
So that was the first thing that brought me, like, that was the first main selling point that attracted me to Polkadot.
Yeah.
Remember that? Like, because hearing that, I kind of relate it to like what Decentraland is doing with the SDK that they're building, right? Like, that's how you're onboarding developers into your ecosystem, is by building and maturing an SDK, like something,
sure,
like a developer-friendly environment. So I heard Polkadot is making their ecosystem very developer-friendly in comparison to like Ethereum. From what I hear, it's not that developer-friendly in a lot of aspects.
Sure.
So
yeah,
that was just the first selling point, but yeah,
there's a few
more tweets to go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so dev teams use Polkadot Substrate framework to build custom chains for specific use, such as Akala network for DeFi, Fala network for privacy, Chainlink for oracles, and Hydra for liquidity. So Polkadot Substrate framework can also be used to build broad, more general purpose chains, such as Moonbeam network for Ethereum compatible smart contracts on Polkadot, or Plasm network for a general dApp platform dubbed ETH2. And then you can see a repository of hundreds of different of these Polkadot projects on polkaproject.com, and each chain can be built on Polkadot's Parachain. So legacy networks like Ethereum are layer ones, and these are single blockchains operating in isolation. So Parachains are also layer ones, but Polkadot is layer zero multi-chain growing to 100 plus networks. So that's pretty interesting. So essentially, and what they'll talk about here is, through Polkadot, we'll be bridging existing networks like Ethereum and Bitcoin via bridges built by teams like Interlay HQ and Snowfork for ETH.
Yeah, there's a lot. So part of the thing, whenever you start investigating, and we're going to do a lot of this investigation too, a lot of the projects currently in like its development stage, a lot of them that are be earning these Web3 grants is kind of like it's like the DAO fund of the ecosystem, you know?
Sure.
And a lot of these projects are focused on just creating the infrastructure of how to bridge to Ethereum's already existing value layer. You know, that's kind of like the big race for all of these developers. There's nothing more important than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because all of the technology, I guess, of Polkadot itself it's kind of there. Like the whole substrate framework to develop your application is there, but the bridges are not. So I think that's kind of like the way crypto works. There's like sectors that emerge at a time. You know what I mean? Like one sector will spawn and grow, and then it'll move on to something else after that. Kind of like working off of the development from the sector,
from the previous sector. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's definitely good to keep
it's like building on the shoulders of giants. I mean, that's what Polkadot is essentially, because they understood that. I mean, to summarize everything that we talked about so far, is Polkadot is the layer zero of what will be a single network of different blockchains, and they will work off of a technology called Substrate, which will link all the different blockchains via parachains into a single network on layer zero, on layer zero's Polkadot. So then the next section here is talking about, okay, so we got Polkadot, what is Kusama network? So Kusama is essentially the exact same code in architecture as Polkadot, but it's on-chain governance moves 4 times faster, which is around 7 days. And there are lower barriers to entry for teams to get a slot on the network. And so Kusama is a mainnet where all Polkadot code moves after being rigorously tested on testnets such as West End and Rococo. So the model is that you go from test nets, which is West End and Rococo, to Kusama mainnet, and then eventually Polkadot mainnet. Mm-hmm. So this ensures that the code is flawless as possible before going to Polkadot. So
and just something to be aware of, just to kind of, for y'all listening, just to kind of know what stage we're at. Pretty much all these projects are just now getting their Rococo slots. You know, like they're just now syncing their networks to the testnet. So that's why it's so important to be paying attention to what's being developed right now, because Kusama and Polkadot aren't even like in their
infancy,
like beginning stages. You know, like we're still in the testnet phase. So there's going to be a lot of onboarding into these, you know, mainnet platforms here pretty soon.
Yeah, and those companies were suspecting that move from testnet to Kusama, then from there to Polkadot. We speculate that those coins would increase in value. So that's why you should be paying attention.
True. Yeah.
So the code coming from Kusama Nova first does bring some risk, which is why Kusama is sometimes referred to as the cypherpunk heaven. This is for the lean, fast teams. For the similar and differences between Polkadot and Kusama, there's a link there provided by Dan there. So to serve the needs of both communities and networks, many teams will actually launch on Polkadot and Kusama. Teams like Akala launching Akala Network on Polkadot and Kusama. And then there's one called Pure Stake CO. Pure Stake is...
Well, that's who's developing Moonbeam. So it's Moonbeam who's deploying on Polkadot.
Oh, okay.
Moon River is deploying on Kusama.
Okay, interesting. Oh, yeah. Similarly launching Moonbeam.
So this is like the new development that's kind of like just now being realized, is because of the growth Kusama has seen, right? Like up until now, I guess everyone was expecting Kusama to be like a sandbox type environment, not necessarily too utilized, but it's grown to the point where it's one of the bigger blockchain mainnets, like, you know, in the market.
Right.
So I guess it makes sense for these projects just to kind of like double launch, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. So you can think of Kusama as being sort of a filter to eventually getting into Polkadot, just because if for whatever reason a project doesn't work well in Kusama, then it's very likely it's not going to work well in Polkadot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive, I guess, to secure a Polkadot slot. So
yeah, which we're going to get to that in a second here. So the Polkadot and the Kusama ecosystems will also be bridged, providing ability to communicate between the networks. So now, so then there's this a lot of talk about this crowd loan and Parachain slot auction happening at this moment. So Polkadot has 100 plus Parachain slots, which must be leased for access to Polkadot security and ability to communicate with other chains. In fact, no team is built on Polkadot until they win an auction. So to occupy a Parachain slot, any team must win a candle auction using DOT or KSM. Tokens for this auction can be gathered in a variety of ways, such as self-funding, VC, venture capitalists, or a community-driven crowd loan. So when a team wins the auction, they immediately gain access to the specific Parachain slot, and all the tokens used in the auction are then locked for the duration of the Polkadot Parachain's lease, usually 1 to 2 years, removing the tokens from circulating supply. So what does that tell you, Iman?
Means I should be FOMOing into Polkadot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just it's so much. To me, it's like a whole new value add to like these blue chip tokens you're talking about.
Yeah.
like everyone's used to holding Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Like the wise investor strategy when you're holding these blue chip is what we identify them as.
Yeah.
Basically anything in the top 10, right? Like
Yeah, basically.
the projects, even if they get sued by the SEC, like Ripple currently is, they're still going to remain in the top 10. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're blue chips for a reason. They just have so much infrastructure and adoption at that point.
Right.
Make it into the top 10. So the wise thing to do as an investor is to never sell those tokens. You know, don't try and time tops and bottoms with them. They're too valuable to lose.
Yeah.
And you're already you've seen the life-changing profits you can gain from buying and holding them and leaving them alone for years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we just go back to Ethereum in 2017. It was at $10.
Yeah, we just saw that. Yeah, you could have bought it at $10 and you're sitting at $1,000 ETH today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people lost a lot of Ethereum just trying to, you know, buy and sell and whatnot.
Yeah.
But all I'm trying to say is you could do the same thing with a Polkadot, which is the wise thing because it's blue chip. But there's an actual utility to it in the sense that you can lend your dot to these Parachain auctions, and in exchange you're getting a new native token that can become like your speculative asset that you can kind of like, you know, actually participate in the market with.
Yeah.
And take those bigger risks because they're not blue chips. You know, they're unproven, not so fundamental as like these, you know, ETH and Bitcoins and Polkadots are.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is unreal. So it's kind of like an incentive to be smart, you know, like you're locking your dots away and not tempted by market movement to like make a mistake.
Yeah, because you got no choice. You got no choice. Like if you participate in this crowd loan, then you're allowing the project to use your dot to get to secure a Parachain slot. Mm-hmm. And then you have no choice but to keep it. So in return to providing the dot to that project, they give you the project's token in return, right? Whether it be, you know, the Glimmer or River token or whatever project decides to do a crowd loan.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing happens on Kusama. So they're both, you know, they have the same utility to them. But yeah, we don't really know necessarily. We don't know yet, like the actual allocation mechanism to these auctions, right? Like we don't know how much you're going to get, how much of the token, like, you know, because I'm assuming a lot of these projects are going to have, you know, staking mechanics into them with like 10-year vesting schedules, you know, so they're going to have to allocate a certain percentage to that. Maybe like 10% of their token supply gets allocated to the actual crowd loan process.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't really know yet the tokenomics of these auctions.
Right.
But they're coming out very soon. So
yeah, and what's interesting here is that in theory, if a team doesn't win one auction, they can simply try again and raise enough dot in order to secure that Parachain slot. Yeah. And so what happens when the 100 plus Parachain slots get taken up, they have an ability to scale up from there. Mm-hmm. So there's no limit to how many parachains that they can support. Mm-hmm. So what does the Web3 built on Polkadot Kusama look like? Just like a database protocols powering the app we use every day, and users and consumers shouldn't even know Polkadot and Kusama are there. Web3 apps that operate as good or better than their Web 2 counterpart. So that's pretty good from a user experience. Mm-hmm. The best ways to learn more about Polkadot basics would be to watch Bill Laboon. Yeah, Bill Laboon, Technical Education Lead at Web3 Foundation, and my Polkadot for Beginners video, which I'll add this link into the description as well. Thank you, Dan, for that. And you can spend hours. Yeah, I mean, we've already spent a ton of time trying to figure out Polkadot, and this guy, Dan, did a very, very good job of summarizing it.
Masterful, tweet storm, dude. Like, I've been looking for somebody to sum it up for me for weeks now. Like, unfortunately, it came towards like my finally, like, I'm starting to understand it moment.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a long time to kind of like finally, because Polkadot is it's a very complex ecosystem, and that he started off by saying that. Yeah. And that's kind of like why it's so intimidating to a lot of people, and they might, you know, we were talking about this off camera, like how people tend to stay what they're comfortable with, you know, like it's built into us, our nature, to like, whenever there's some kind of change on the horizon, like there's natural resistance to kind of like avoid it.
Yeah, for sure.
So in this case, like if you're an Ethereum maximalist, I mean, that's fine. You could be that. I think it's okay because nobody thinks Ethereum is going to go anywhere, but try to limit or try to expand your horizons a little bit just to see how something like Polkadot can enhance.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Polkadot isn't a threat to anything. It's more of it helps the ecosystem grow because it makes all these multi-chains into a single network.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is good for Bitcoin to Ethereum and any other blockchain project that ends up securing a Parachain slot, which will not be easy. Because, I mean, you have to do a crowd sale or get a VC involved or self-fund how many tokens it needs or the project needs in order to secure that slot. So these tokens will end up being extremely valuable. If not now, they will be valuable later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with that, you do with that information how you want.
Definitely not investment advice, but this is just for our own understanding. And full disclosure, we do not own any DOT. So, so this is only encouraging us to FOMO in, if anything else.
Yeah, if anything, it just encourages us, to pay attention to the ecosystem that's going to come, in the future.
Yeah.
So that's really, I mean, DOT was a very good investment opportunity, several months ago, but that doesn't mean just because you missed purchasing DOT at $3, like that's it. Like that's the end of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. That'd be like saying because Ethereum hit $300 and you missed out on that, it's like fuck. But there's 2,000 ERC20 tokens out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Plenty of them have done 100 to 200x's in their past.
Right.
So there's going to be insane opportunity, and I think Polkadot is going to be what catalyzes is the catalyst for this next altcoin cycle, in my opinion.
By far so far.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for us. Make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner and at MetaZone.io. We'll be here. Make sure ask them some questions on the chat below, and let us know what you think about Polkadot and what your thoughts are on where the price is going to go or anything like that. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, and if you guys are Polkadot followers like us, and you know of any projects like sleeper projects that are being built, let us know in the comments too, because we definitely want to cover as much as we can about Polkadot. Yeah, definitely. Anything that you guys think is interesting, we want to cover it, and we'll check it out in the comment section. So thank you guys, and see ya. Peace.